Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really tackling a major issue here in Dallas. Homelessness. It's something, we all see. It generates a lot of opinions.
It really does. And we want to go a bit beyond just the surface level today.
Exactly. We're aiming to explore some of the deeper dynamics, the different strategies being talked about.
And for this deep dive, we've looked at quite a range of things. The city's own community survey, reports from homeless solutions groups, news articles, even, what Dallas residents are saying online.
Yeah, we're going to touch on the housing first strategy, which gets a lot of buzz. We'll also look at the role of surrounding areas, maybe viewing this as a public health issue, and what Councilmember Jesse Moreno is pushing for.
So maybe the big question to keep in mind as we talk is, what are the real hurdles? What's actually stopping us from making more effective progress on homelessness right here in Dallas?
Okay, good starting point. Let's begin with what Dallas residents themselves are thinking. That 2023 City Community Survey, it gave us some pretty clear signals, didn't it?
It really did. I mean, while most people, about two-thirds, felt pretty good about their specific neighborhood.
It's just positive in itself.
Right. But when asked about the biggest problem facing the whole city, homelessness just shot to the top.
By quite a margin, too.
Yeah, a staggering 75% named homelessness. I mean, compare that to other big concerns like crime at 61%, drugs 60%, infrastructure 55%. They're significant, sure, but homelessness was way out front.
It just shows how visible and, well, how deeply felt this issue is across the city. You really can't avoid seeing its impact.
Mm-hmm. It touches many parts of life here. So let's talk about housing first. It's probably the main strategy we hear about right now.
Yeah, it feels like a definite shift from maybe how things were handled before. This street to home initiative, tell us about that.
Okay, so this initiative, it kind of signaled a move away from maybe stricter past approaches. Phase 1, for example, they focused on rehousing 100 people considered chronically homeless from 3 specific areas downtown.
Just 100 to start. Seems small, but maybe targeted.
Well, it's a start, and the overall goal they've stated is pretty ambitious. Cut homelessness in half by 2026.
Wow, okay. And housing first isn't just about the housing itself, is it? There's more to it.
That's crucial. It's housing assistance plus what they call wraparound care. Think support services, case management. This is especially important for folks coming out of encampments, many dealing with disabilities too.
Right, addressing the whole picture.
Exactly. And you see that reflected in the funding, more money coming in, some federal COVID relief, HUD grants.
Yeah.
It suggests there's some belief this approach is, well, showing some positive results.
Is there a specific example that kind of illustrates how this works on the ground?
Yeah, the encampment under Buckner Boulevard is probably a really good case study for this. It shows how intensive it can be.
Okay, what happened there?
Well, outreach workers spent a lot of time really building relationships, building trust with the people living there. That took time.
Not just showing up once.
Definitely not. They brought medical care right to the site, helped people with paperwork nightmares, like getting IDs back, other documents.
Which can be a huge barrier.
Huge. And then they worked on connecting people to actual housing options that fit their needs. Maybe someone needed a first floor apartment or wanted to be closer to family. It was tailored.
So not one size fits all.
Right. And then people moved into apartments, got leases, some basic furniture, and critically, they kept getting support from caseworkers even after moving in.
And the encampment itself.
Eventually, yes, after most people were housed, the area was cleared and fenced off. It shows the potential, when it works as intended.
It does sound promising in that instance. But like most things, it's probably not that simple, right? There must be challenges or different opinions on this housing first model.
Oh, absolutely. It's not without its critics or, let's say, differing perspectives, even within the Dallas City Council.
Okay, like what?
Well, you have council members, Jesse Moreno included, who seem to want a wider toolkit. They're raising the point that simply offering housing isn't always accepted. Some individuals might refuse the services.
Acknowledging that reality.
Exactly. It points to the deep complexities involved. Sometimes it's not just about lacking a roof.
And you see similar conversations happening elsewhere, like online?
Definitely. If you look at places like Reddit, people bring up the concern that just clearing an encampment, well, does it solve the problem or just move it down the street?
Yeah, the whack-a-mole idea.
Kind of. And there's a lot of talk in those forums about the desperate need for more mental health care, for addiction treatment, for rehab services, things that go beyond just housing.
That makes sense. And what about the concerns of, housed residents? That coming up too, surely.
Understandably. People talk about public safety, quality of life impacts, feeling unsafe, maybe using public transport or encountering behavior that's disruptive. It's a real tension.
There was even a comment mentioned, I think, from a doctor on Reddit.
Yeah, suggesting that for some unsheltered individuals, unfortunately, the priority might be finding drugs rather than finding housing or wanting to change their situation. It just highlights how incredibly difficult this is, balancing compassion and support with, public order and safety.
It also brings up this other angle, the idea of migration. Do people experiencing homelessness move to places like Dallas because there are more services?
That's definitely part of the conversation. An article in the Dallas Observer pointed to rising homelessness in nearby Plano and McKinney and sort of floated the idea that it could be linked to Dallas's efforts. Maybe people are coming here seeking help.
So Dallas invests more and potentially draws more people in need.
It's a potential dynamic. The same article mentioned Denton City Council members saying something like, if you build it, they will come, referring to a homeless services facility. It suggests these aren't just Dallas issues, they're regional.
Which really makes you think. Maybe the city of Dallas can't solve this entirely on its own. What about the county? Dallas County.
That's a really critical point. There's a growing feeling or argument that Dallas County needs to step up more.
How so? What's their role?
Well, structurally, Dallas County is actually the contracted public health authority for the city of Dallas.
Ah, okay, so health is their domain.
Right, which means there's a strong case that the county should be taking a lead role on the health aspects, the physical health, the mental health, the addiction issues that are so often tangled up with homelessness.
That connects directly back to those Reddit comments about needing more mental health resources.
Exactly. If we frame this more as a public health crisis, which many argue it is, then the county's role becomes much clearer and potentially much more impactful.
Interesting. Okay, so shifting gears slightly, let's talk about Councilmember Jesse Moreno again. He chairs the Housing and Homeless Solutions Committee, right? So he's right in the thick of it.
Yes, a key position. And he's been quite vocal about needing accountability and transparency in how the city tackles this.
And didn't he specifically mention the issue of people refusing services?
He did. A WFAA piece highlighted his focus on finding strategies for individuals who, for whatever reason, decline the help that's offered.
So it sounds like he's maybe looking for a path that complements housing first, but also addresses those harder to reach situations, kind of new direction, perhaps?
Potentially, yeah. Trying to find a balance, maybe add some other tools to the city's approach. It's worth noting, though, the Dallas Observer reported he declined to comment on using that nomadic AI data we mentioned earlier.
Oh, the encampment mapping data. Interesting.
Yeah, it raises questions about how new tech or data might fit into the city's plans. But speaking of data, we do have some official numbers from the point-in-time count.
Right, the PIT count. That gives us a snapshot, doesn't it? What did the 2024 count show for Dallas and Collin counties?
Okay, so this count happened on one night, January 25th this year. The total number of people experiencing homelessness across both counties was 3,718.
3,718. And how many were sheltered versus unsheltered?
The majority, 71%, were in shelters. That left 29% unsheltered.
Okay, so about 1,086 people unsheltered on that particular night.
Exactly. And an important point here, that unsheltered number is actually down 24% since 2021. So some progress there, at least by that metric.
That's a significant decrease. Where were most of these individuals found? Mainly Dallas County.
Overwhelmingly, 88% of the total count were in Dallas County. And within Dallas County itself, about 26% were unsheltered, 62% were sheltered.
Any other demographic details that stood out?
Well, a large majority of the households, 78%, were individuals or adults without children. And about 24%, that's 646 people, met the definition of being chronically homeless.
So that data gives us a sense of the scale and maybe tracks some trends. It's complex.
Very. And you mentioned that nomadic AI mapping effort.
Mm.
That's another piece of the puzzle, trying to use technology.
Yeah, using AI to map encampments. What's the goal there?
The idea, as they stated, is to provide better, more centralized information for first responders, for outreach teams, basically to help connect people in encampments with resources more effectively.
But it's not an official city thing, right?
Not currently, no. According to the Observer, they developed this Dallas map independently without a formal city partnership at this stage.
Got it. So wrapping this up, it's really clear that tackling homelessness in Dallas is incredibly complex. There are no easy answers here.
Not at all. We've touched on the promise, but also the challenges of housing first, the very real concerns of residents, the potential, maybe untapped potential of the county taking a stronger public health role.
And the new directions being explored by city leadership, like Councilmember Moreno's focus.
Yeah, understanding all these different facets, the data, the different viewpoints, the strategies being tried, it's all pretty crucial if we want to have informed conversations about it.
Definitely. So maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on. Given everything we've discussed, the resources, the strategies, the challenges, what do you think is the most vital piece for making real, meaningful progress on homelessness in Dallas?
And perhaps just as important, what's the role for the broader community in all of this? Something to think about.
Indeed. We definitely encourage everyone to look more into the sources and keep thinking about this vital issue. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.